So I have a question for you. Do you bet on football or do you trade football? Do you have a favourite team? Are you aware of who your best player is? And what would happen to the chances of your team if he wasn't playing? Because if you can answer yes to some of those questions, then it's almost certain that you'll be able to make some money over the course of the football season. And in this video, I'm going to show you how. I've been successfully betting and trading for over 2 decades. If you want more videos like this and you want me to describe more of what I do, then give us a like. If you want to talk to like-minded people, visit the BetAngel forum where you can do exactly that, but also visit our website where you can download a free trial of BetAngel. So it's very easy to overcomplicate any betting or trading strategy that you wish to put into the market. But the fact is, some of the best strategies don't need to be that particularly complicated. What I'm going to show you in this video is a strategy that I've used for many years. I use it pretty much every day, definitely every week. And there are some football matches where it's absolutely brilliant and very useful on, and some where it's not so great. But there are opportunities in all of them. And more importantly, the risk that you take is very low. But the potential payoff that you get is potentially very high. So what are these strategies? What do you have to do? And what matches are these strategies deployed on? Let's have a look at some of those questions. So we're going to open the video with a little bit of trading. I'm going to bring up a screen here which shows me actively trading a match fairly recently. And by trading, if you're not familiar, I can't assume that everybody who's watching this video will know what trading is all about. But basically, if you go onto a betting exchange, you can back and lay at different prices and you net the profit between the two. It's just the same way that you would trade on the stock market, apart from your trading on a sports market. And in order to do that, you need to lay at a lower price than you back at. So if you think that the price is going to go up, you lay, and vice versa. Basically, you would back first if you think the price is going to go down. So there are 2 questions that pop up here. For people who've seen me talk about this before, I'm going to expand your knowledge in this particular area on this video and show you how you can preempt stuff in this particular market. And also the other question that most people are going to ask is, well, how do you know which way the price is going to go? Because if you knew that, you would make loads of money, which is exactly what we're going to do. So how do we know where the price is going to go on the odds of a football team? Because what we're going to do with this particular strategy is we are trading before the match has started. And we're basically going to be going into the match. We're going to be laying a team that we think where the price is going to start drifting. Why would the price of a team drift? Well, at the beginning of the video, I asked you a question about, do you know who your best player in the team is? And of course, if that player is not in the team, that's going to directly affect the chance of your team winning that match, and the odds will change. So if you take out some of your best players, then the odds will drift. Or if your opposing team, if your opponents take out some of their best players, then their price will drift and your price will naturally go in the other direction. So that gives us our directional bias in the market and whether we know to back or lay first when we're actively trading in this particular sort of manner. So, when is that likely to occur? Well, one of the key things that affects whether a player is going to play in the next match is whether they're injured or not. Because if a player is injured and they don't want to play in the next match or can't play in the next match, or the manager thinks it's sensible to rest them in the next match, then what you'll actually find is that the odds on the next match begin to adjust to take that into account. So the interesting thing about this strategy is when you're watching one match and you see an injury that is taking place, then in fact you could actually take advantage of that by looking at the odds on the next match and taking a position based upon what has just happened, whether a player has been injured or not. That's one of the first practical ways that you can use this strategy. So I think it's fairly obvious that if your key player is injured and he's not going to play in the next match, that's going to affect the price, and you can exploit that by actively trading. So keeping an eye on injuries is a key tactic. But there are other reasons why your favourite player or the best player in that team isn't going to play in the next match, and that could be because they're being rested. Why would they rest their best player within a team? Well, that comes down to fixture congestion. And that's one of the reasons for doing the video at this particular moment in time, is because we're in a period of high fixture congestion. So when we go through that Christmas period and into the new year, when the FA Cup third round starts, You've got the Football League Cup, you've got the FA Cup, you've got the European competition, you've got the domestic league, all of those things all crunched together to create a big problem in terms of the number of fixtures that need to be played. So what you tend to find is that managers will rest players, and that will have a dramatic effect on the team. And as a consequence, you could, if you expect a number of players to be rested, you can actually lay a team at relatively short odds, and then you can actually expect the price to start drifting as that team news begins to filter through to the market. And more especially, what you tend to find is that when the team sheet is actually released, you'll get a second bounce in the market. So if you look at a fixture list ahead of time, you can begin to see where all of those fixtures are beginning to pile up. And when we're looking at the FA Cup third round, you will find that there are a number of teams that are playing in the FA Cup third round that also have a number of other important matches, and therefore they'll rest key players. And you will see the market begin to respond. So as a consequence, you'll see their price drift, and probably one of the best examples I can give you here is when Exeter played Liverpool, and Liverpool had a number of injuries. They had a number of key matches coming up in the Champions League. They needed to rest some players, and off went their price. But when the team sheet was announced, it was fairly obvious that there were actually a large number of youth team players within that particular team as well, and therefore the price shot off even more. So it was a double bubble situation. You get the opportunity to profit a couple of times over at least. But you also find that as we enter the back end of the season, when we get towards May, if you've got clubs that are playing important matches such as FA Cup matches or Champions League or Europa League matches, they're very likely to rest a number of players, say in a domestic competition or in a much lower quality match where they think they can sort of get away with putting out some of the less regularly played players. But you also may find that, for example, in the group stages of European competition, that last match will see mass resting of players at certain times as well. So it's worth keeping your eye out. And the key here is basically look at the fixture list, watch it like a hawk, understand where there are key pinch points and where matches are likely to occur where players could be rested, and you'll be able to take advantage of that. So there's another way in which we can actually take advantage of this opportunity, and that is by looking at the fixture list again, but also looking at a team's form, and we can begin to understand how that's going to influence things going forward. So let's say, for example, that we have a team that is experiencing a slump in form going up against a team that's resurgent. Then you can expect the price to adjust, and you can take advantage of that by backing or laying a little bit of time out. And the best example I can give you of this recently is Southampton playing Nottingham Forest. Both teams that are similar levels within the league, but you've got Nottingham Forest who are beginning to cobble together a few decent results, and Southampton who basically aren't. They have been playing terribly recently, like absolutely no confidence. A new manager's come in and hasn't done anything at all. And as a consequence, they're on a downward curve, whereas Nottingham Forest are on a gentle upward curve. So what do you think happened to the price of Southampton over a period of days before they played Nottingham Forest? Do you think that the market was saying they've got a better and better chance of winning, or do you think the market said that they've got a worse and worse chance? Because the market can only discount what it's got at that moment in time, and by anticipating it, you can take advantage of it. And if we have a look at the chart of Southampton before the match over a period of days, you can see that their price went on a gentle drift. We could have laid Southampton at the available price and available money when the market opened, and by the time kickoff came around, their price had drifted considerably. So yeah, there's another opportunity for you to be able to profit from this type of strategy. So what we've done here is we are trading that period before the match has actually started. We're anticipating where the odds are likely to go, and we're nipping into the market and we're trading out of our position before a ball has even been kicked. It's a clever way of profiting on football, and it's something that I've done for many, many years successfully. The payoffs vary depending upon the scenarios that you're presented with, because sometimes you may actually get no team news at all. And I've actually done a video on how to trade pre-off and to be able to profit on this when there's actually no price movement at all. I'll include a link in this video, but predominantly what we're looking for is we're looking for the price to move in one direction or another. And the way that we're doing that is we're anticipating things like injuries, fixture congestion, all sorts of things in order to give us an indication as to where those odds will move before the match has actually started. And by doing that, we can get involved in the market at a favourable time, trade out before the match has started, and net ourselves a profit regardless of the result of the underlying football match. It's a very effective strategy, it's relatively low risk, and it's something that I recommend that you have a look at.